The Nature of Mind by Venerable Rung Ruang Papas Saro, Dr. Rung Ruang Lim Chupatipa. The Buddha admired that a mind has 4 special properties to cope with the world as follows.
The mind has the 4 special cognitive capabilities to acknowledge what is happening in the world as follows. 1. Life is an execution of a stream of consciousness, and at each instance of having consciousness, when having consciousness to fetch the object of consciousness, then the mind will acknowledge the object of consciousness, reflecting on what is happening around in the world and how to respond to the world. This capability is called the element of acknowledgement.
Note: this is an explanation of how a consciousness functions in mind processing.
2. As the mind continuously processes in a stream of consciousness, the mind will accumulate, record, and memorize all data as the cognition of experiences in life. The wholesome mind will lead to good doing, which is beneficial to life, while the unwholesome mind will lead to evil doing, which is harmful to life. This information on individuality is called memory of karma.
Note: the law of karma defines the conservation of karma in association with an individual and the world, saying wholesome doing will collectively result in a good return, while unwholesome doing will collectively result in a bad return.
3. The accumulation of experiences or karmas will develop behaviors and habits. An unwholesome mind and doing of karma will lead to uninstructed cognition, while a wholesome mind and doing of karma will lead to instructed cognition. Therefore, it is very essential to study the truths of life within nature by establishing mindfulness and performing insight observation to see the dharma of life. Then the mind will initiate introspective learning for cognitive development, which is called wisdom.
Note: clearly, wisdom is not a mantra of supernatural power, but it is a result of the cognition of introspective learning by performing an insightful observation.
4. After an instructed cognition is developed, then this wisdom on dharma and nature can be accompanied with mindfulness to respond to an arising unwholesome. After all the unwholesome minds are completely abandoned by wisdom, then the mind will be purified and liberated, and this is called the way to make an end of suffering in life.
The concept of the acknowledge element of mind is very important in Buddhism, because it explains how the mind functions while being conscious. The mind will know and understand what is happening within the mind. Moreover, it explains the function of mindfulness when being conscious. That is, the mind will acknowledge whatsoever stimulus coming into the mind, and then these stimuli will be analyzed and stored in memory. These memories will be incorporated as information of individuality from experiences to drive a decision on how to respond to receiving stimuli from the world as individual behavior. Therefore, a person with unwholesome mind processing tends to respond to the world with evil doing, while a person with wholesome mind processing tends to respond to the world with wholesome doing. This is typically the law of karma. In this circumstance, the Buddha encouraged that human being to have a special capability to study the truths of nature as knowledge to cope with the world rightly. This was the origin of the Buddhist practice of performing an insight observation to learn the truths of the mind and its functions rightly to gain wisdom of instructed cognition in order to respond to the world rightly.